Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things running through a common sense lens. And man, oh man, it is always so funny to watch these Hollywood studio heads talk out of both sides of their mouths, right? They'll claim, oh, we don't ever start a movie without all of our scripts being completely and totally done. But then at the exact same time, they'll go out there and say, well, we constantly modify them and change them the entire time. Well, if your script was really done and was a finished product you were happy with, why would you have to constantly change things throughout the entire time? Methinks, once again, boys and girls, it is cover fire, it is nonsense garbage out there for telling us the truth about what is actually going on behind the scenes over there at Disney Marvel. And that is the fact that they have no idea what they are doing in any way, shape, or form. Boys and girls, they go into these machines half-cocked with the talent that was there that used to be able to actually pull that kind of stuff off is simply no longer there and cannot actually pull themselves a successful movie. Whether or not you've liked a lot of what's come out of Phase 4 and Phase 5 now that apparently just concluded with Captain America, Brave New World, and now Phase 6 has started with Fantastic Four. Either way, at the end of the day, you cannot deny the fact that what Marvel has been doing over the last few years, essentially since post-Endgame, has not been working. Outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, they have not crossed a single billion-dollar movie since Endgame out there, boys and girls. The majority of them have come in to be disastrous dumpster fires, and the fans have pretty much universally rejected everything that has come out of since Endgame. And well, we know that this is one of the problems out there because despite Kevin Feige saying, well, we never start a production without a finished script, and despite James Gunn essentially side-eyeing and absolutely letting the cat out of the bag, well, despite all of the denial and lies about all of that kind of stuff out there, well, guess what? We've got another director coming out basically saying the exact same thing, that the Marvels truly failed at the box office, not because they were a bunch of characters that no Marvel fan actually cared about in any way, shape, or form. No, because the script was an absolute hot mess garbage that was not finished. And guess what, boys and girls? It's Kevin Feige's world over there at Marvel, and you're just living it in. Because once again, not only does this confirm that Kevin Feige greenlights movies and massive productions to get done without a finished script, but it once again confirms that all of these failures, all of these flops land solely at the feet of Marvel's studio head, because he simply cannot help himself but watch every single project 5 or 6 times and give all of his ideas on things, and that he is indeed the driving force behind Marvel, who was once the box office champion, right down into its disastrous dumpster fire of a direction that it has found itself in, burning down to the ground. And guess what? It's all Kevin Feige's fault, because we go into things without a finished script, and it's all about his ideas and nobody else's. And we have another director confirming this, another former Marvel employee telling the truth despite the lies that Kevin Feige will peddle to the access media. So we're going to check this article from comicbook.com, getting all of the juicy details and see exactly what is going on and what this director has said. And of course, once again, remind everybody that Kevin Feige denies all of this truth, even though he is literally hiring writers and bringing people in while a film has been literally in the process of filming for 3 months. Boy, I wonder why all of these movies feel like such a convoluted mess when we finally see the quote-unquote finished product. So we're going to take this article from Matt McGloin over there at CosmicBook.news and get all the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. We're sailing our way towards 22. I think we're sitting at like 2,160, and I could not do that without every single one of us. You. Also, let us know what you think about all this in the comments section down below. Does it surprise you at all that Kevin Feige, despite spouting all of this nonsense about everything being done, that we have another former Marvel employee coming out here and confirming what all of us knew all along, or that Kevin Feige has no idea what he's doing and it literally is all his fault? Do you think what she says is true about all this, that Kevin Feige's interference is really truly the reason why the Marvels failed at the box office? Or do you think there's a lot of other factors going along with all of that? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from comicbook.news and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. Nia Decosta blames the Marvel's failure on Marvel script problems. Once again, completely denying the reality that a bunch of activist, ideologue characters don't really sell very well at all in the box office because they didn't sell very well in the comics. Despite my love for Alana Vellani, and I think she's an absolutely wonderful girl and probably one of the very few actresses in Hollywood that actually has some common sense inside of her brain, Miss Marvel failed in the comics because it was a diversity, inclusion, and equity creation, part of the Marvel Now initiative that nobody wanted and failed miserably. Why would you expect anything different from the box office or a TV series? It's almost like history doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes. The Marvel's director, Nia Decosta, is again pointing to Marvel Studios as a key reason behind the film's struggles, this time specifically calling out the script. It's known that Marvel's way of doing things is to not have a finished script, something Feige recently confirmed is the case for the big Avengers Doomsday movie. Oh, how did they confirm that? From GamesRadar.com. Not exactly a website known for being overtly critical of Disney Marvel in any way, shape, or form. Even though Avengers Doomsday has been filming for 3 months, Marvel boss Kevin Feige says the script is still being worked on, i.e. not done. What does Kevin Feige call that? A plussing, boys and girls. It's happening every day. Which means they did not have a complete vision for this film, and they are changing things on the fly by the seat of their pants. Now, I don't know about any of you out there, boys and girls, but if you've ever tried to build anything or create anything, if you've ever tried to make a desk for yourself or build a cabinet or build a shelf out there in any way, shape, or form, or maybe try to repair an engine. Now, do you just go into it flying by the seat of your pants and just putting nails and screws everywhere and taking out random bolts and throwing screws over the other places and then trying to figure it all out as you go along? Or do you find proper instructions? Do you plan things out? And if you have tried both ways, which way worked out for you and which way ended up in a disastrous dumpster fire? Let me know about that in the comments section down below. Or if you're watching this live, tell us about your experiences out there in the chat as well. Because boys and girls, me thinks one method works a little bit better than the other. And as an aircraft mechanic, it's not like I've got any experience as to which way works well and which way it turns into, well, literally planes falling out of the air. I couldn't possibly have any examples of that to come up with, but needless to say, Kevin Feige thinks it's a great idea. He touts it. He even called his play, even uses plussing as a clap back at James Gunn, calling him out for the fact that James Gunn said over at DC, we will start nothing without a finished script that he is happy with. Contrary to what Kevin Feige's plussing is, where clearly he has no problem greenlighting two $300 million productions without actually having a script he is happy with. So beside all of the media spin about plussing, he starts a project without a product, without a script that he is happy with, right? Whereas, yes, James Gunn flat out said that is not going to happen. So despite Collider trying to run interference, saying Kevin Feige claps back at James Gunn, the truth is still the truth. Marvel productions start without a finished vision, without a finished script. And Decosta is confirming that one. While talking about the sequel to 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, she mentioned Marvel. Making the 28 Years Later sequel was one of the best filmmaking experiences I've had. How many directors, how many writers, how many showrunners, how many actors and actresses have we heard about that working at Disney Marvel is an absolutely miserable experience, right? Elizabeth Olsen came out and said that about her experience on working on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, right? We talked about that with several other people that have been coming out and talking about this. Bo DeMayo, right? Talks about the actual toxic kind of environment that is inside of working at Marvel, right? We have heard this happen time and time again. And it's once again, one of two reasons. Either Kevin Feige does not trust in the people that he hires to do a good job, or his ego and his narcissism will not allow him to not have his finger right in the middle of absolutely everything that comes out of Marvel, which means Marvel is now less about the characters and the employees doing a good job to give a product that the fans would know and love, to be all about Kevin Feige's ego. Which is it? Because it has to be one or the other. He is an either incompetent studio head who hires people who cannot do their jobs, or his ego and his narcissism make it to where he has to be involved in everything, and that means everything that has come out of Marvel since Endgame is all his fault. Those billions of dollars of loss are all his fault because he is the one that makes the final decision on absolutely everything before it even hits the screen. You can't have it both ways. It's either all his fault or he's an incompetent and doesn't trust the people he hires. One of the two. You guys decide. Sounds like it's probably a bit of both. But either way, at the end of the day, this is all Kevin Feige's fault. He can blame no one else but himself for the billions of dollars that Marvel has lost over the last few years. Decosta says, one of the issues I had with Candyman and the Marvels was the lack of a really solid script, which is always just going to wreak havoc on the whole process. Wow. Sound like Elizabeth Olsen talking about the way she worked on WandaVision? Sound like, what was it? One of the creators for what? Secret Wars or something like that? Secret Invasion that was on Disney Plus said literally they didn't even have the last episode or the ideas for the last episode figured out as they were still figuring it out as the show was premiering on Disney Plus because Kevin Feige wasn't happy. How'd that show work out, boys and girls? It's literally the same across the board, and it's all Feige's fault. Decosta previously went so far to say as the Marvels wasn't even her movie. It's a Kevin Feige production. It's his movie. So I think you live in that reality. But I tried to go in with knowledge that some of you is going to take a back seat. This confirms exactly what Bo DeMeo said. That you literally cannot get anything done inside of Marvel. The only way he was able to pull off what he pulled off is because everybody ignored him and forgot that his production even existed, right? Otherwise, everything is nothing more than the writers come into the room to be nothing more than dictation machines for all of Kevin Feige's thoughts. That's it. That's all it is. It's his production. It's his movie. It's his world, and you're just living in it. Then why even bother hiring directors and writers? You can find any idiot to adapt what you say and put it down on a piece of paper. But that's apparently the only way things work inside of Disney Marvel. Boy, I wonder why they've lost billions of dollars over the last few years. While she said she was grateful for the opportunity to play in Marvel's big world, she added that she just pushed her to want to focus on her own original films instead. Despite all the money she made, despite all the acclaim and fame that come with working for Disney Marvel, she would rather do her own independent things than ever work for that company again. Wow. Doesn't exactly sound like a positive creative environment, now does it? Questioning around her role in the troubled production grew after it was reported Decosta left the film during post-production to work on another project. She relocated to London to prep Hida, a drama starring Les Thompson, before the Marvels even finished. If you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go. Sources told Variety back in 2023. Well, if it's Kevin Feige's production, if it's his world and she's just living in it, sounds like they didn't need her. Sounds like it's all Kevin Feige's fault, and it was all his idea to begin with. The Marvels is the worst performing MCU movie of all time, earning only $206.1 million and losing Disney $200 million. And the funny part about that too, the $206 million comes from Disney's reports. The numbers stopped reporting on it when they pulled it out, when Disney stopped reporting on their box office numbers. So the only place we've gotten the 206 from is from Disney itself, given it was part of their financial numbers, but the numbers still has it clocked at $200 million. It is also the least watched MCU movie on Disney Plus. And guess what, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we have more confirmation that every disastrous dumpster fire and failure that has come out of Disney Marvel over the last few years, and I guess for argument's sake, the only success, Deadpool and Wolverine, has been all Kevin Feige's fault. And despite the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, some could argue Guardians of the Galaxy, some could argue Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But despite that, if you take everything out and you do all of the basic math between the amount of money Disney Marvel has spent over the last arguably 10 years, but let's just say since Endgame, just on their theatrical releases alone, because it's hard to do math on whether or not a Marvel television show actually made a profit or not. It's really not. It's pretty obvious if it never charted on Nielsen ratings or was always really low in the bottom of it, right? But just for argument's sake and just to keep it simple for everybody out there, right? If you take just the reported budgets, add them all up, not the real budgets, just the reported budgets, and you take that and you compare it to all of the reported box office numbers and you add both of those up and you do your lovely little 2.5 times that everybody in the trade magazine says what you need to make a profit. How many hundreds of millions of dollars is Kevin Feige currently in the red for Marvel Productions at the box office? How much? Tell us in the comment section down below if you did the math. Because at the end of the day, boys and girls, this is all his fault. And Nia Decosta is just confirming that Kevin Feige is the reason why the Marvels flopped. He's also the reason why Captain America Brave New World flopped. The Thunderbolts flopped. And now Fantastic Four has flopped. We can go all the way back to the Eternals and Ant-Man and everything else if you'd like. But just this year, Kevin Feige is solely responsible for 3 Marvel flops that have cost that company hundreds of millions of dollars. Because either one of two things is true. He knowingly hires incompetent people to make his movies and television shows, so he doesn't trust them, so he has to be hands-on and micromanage absolutely everything, or his ego and his narcissism and the fact that apparently Kevin Feige is the only face of Marvel and the only idea man behind Marvel now, and therefore it is also all his fault. One of those two things or a mix of the both can be true. But you cannot deny that at the end of the day, Kevin Feige, this is his fault. This is his doing, and it is what Marvel has become under his tutelage and clearly under his direction and control. At the end of the day, this just only confirms that Kevin Feige is the reason behind Marvel's failure and that he was never the reason behind all of its success, because now he has total control over the franchise, the brand, and every single thing that comes out of it. And all of that has been a giant, massive flop, and that includes the Marvels. So shout out to Nia Decosta. You didn't give us a good movie, but at least you gave us the truth, and that is far more than we will ever get from Kevin Feige. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.